All right. What up? What up? How y'all doing today? Oh God, I gotta put my seatbelt on. Safety first, you know. So I hope y'all doing good. I didn't have the chance to do any editing for since yesterday nor today, so I figured out let me just go live stream. Let me just live stream real quick, and then so I can actually rant as I'm driving, right? So I've seen like I try my best not to talk about politics on this channel because I know how sensitive YouTube can be, and then like the algorithm, and then like all that stuff, right? It can be quite unfair for people who actually don't have any mainstream viewpoint. However, that is shifting, and this whole
Take the next
cultural
left
war.
onto South Quincy Street.
Shut up. All right, let me just change that real quick. All right, let me pull. I'm just gonna pull over real quick so I can chat, so we can
In a
actually have
quarter
a
mile, turn
conversation.
left onto South Madison Street.
Nope, don't care. All right, so let me try to get that real quick. Um, so yeah, the election happened. We all saw that beat down, and then we still now have a lot of coping going on. First, from the crazy people, and then second from the people who actually are somewhat reasonable, but they are more tribalistic. And for some reason, people can't seem to quite figure it out why Orange Man is actually is elected again. All right, it all comes down to credibility. No, that's not me saying that. Yeah, Trump is more credible, so blah blah blah. It's in a way, yeah. It's not about Trump and his personality, right? Because I was watching this movie yesterday. I think it's called The Art of Insult. Right? It's like a documentary about Trump's run throughout the first election, and oh my God, this guy's a fucking asshole. I understand why people don't like him. I do understand why people don't like him because no politician was talking like that. No politician. And I think the thing that was appealing to most people is also the thing that's a turnoff for most people, right? Because what I mean by this, when I watch the video, The Art of an Insult, because the Trump that you see now, he's a lot more tame than what you actually saw previously. Previously, like if I was really paying attention, like because the previous election, I wasn't paying attention. I'm like, eh, I'm not gonna vote for Hillary. I'm not gonna vote for Trump. Screw them both. Blah blah blah. Right. So I was pretty much out of it. And now I'm looking back to see how much of an asshole this guy was. it's There's two reasons why people liked him and people hated his gut at the same time. The reason why people liked him is because he was saying to politicians all the things that the average people really wanted to say to politicians. They wanted to be in a position where they can troll a politician, they can make fun of a politician, they can cuss a politician out. And he was pretty much the voice of those who were like fed up with the establishment, right? But the reason why I understand why a lot of people didn't like him neither is because we're looking at someone's behavior, someone that's supposed to represent the United States in the world stage. That is not presidential. That is not the way you actually behave as a president or as a candidate. Because we're kind of used to that standard of how a politician supposed to, be like, especially if you are a Republican, right? Because Democrats have a little bit of a leeway. Obama had the swag, he was cool, Bill Clinton plays the jazz. Republican are meant to be goofy looking type. Republicans are not cool. They're like uptight as hell. They're supposed to play that uptight role. And then here comes this asshole that was just like partying with celebrities prior and all that stuff. And he don't give a damn about decorum. And he was like making fun of people. He was pretty much bullying them. He was bullying people and then pretty much showing their true color, right? And that's why people did not like Trump. They look at him as in like, this guy's an asshole. I would not want him to represent me in the world stage because they're gonna look at him as a joke, right? I get it. I understand. I do understand. But here's an analogy for you, right? Let's say you have, okay, let's say you at a school, right? You do have, let's say, the American public. You do have like people that are being bullied. You have people that are being bullied, and the teachers who are actually in the class and stuff like that, and the teachers are supposed to be running this thing. They're looking at your bullies. They're not doing nothing about it, right? They like, be like, hey, you gotta be nice, you gotta be this, you gotta be doing that, right? And all of a sudden you find out like the bullies that's getting away with all this crap is because the parents of these bullies are actually like, paying the teachers on the side to actually look the other way, right? So you as a kid, you piss. You sometimes want to cuss the teacher out and be like, "Your teacher, you are worthless. You useless. You letting these people bully me and stuff like that. You aren't doing nothing about it." And then here comes, hold and behold, this all new teacher that just came out of the woodwork, right? Just got hired or just put in place. Let's say a substitute. And then he watched these bullies, like, doing certain stuff. And then he cussed these bullies out. And then you like, wait a minute, but you're a teacher. You're not supposed to talk to these bullies like this. And then he started to cuss out those teachers that was worthless, that was useless, that were not doing anything. So all the things that you as the student were being bullied and you wanted to say to these teachers, you couldn't say it. And then now you have this guy is cussing out these useless teachers out. So of course you're gonna be like, you're gonna root for this guy, be like, yes, finally someone is letting these guys know how useless they were, how messed up they were, stuff like that. They suck, right? So that's what Trump represented to most people, right? So then now, fast forward to this election that just happened. We were led to believe that the adult is back in the White House, right? So all these childish, these mean tweets, all this other crap that, pearl clutching and all that stuff. All that came to an end because we got the orange man out of the White House. So the adults are back in charge, right? But that also came the return of the bullies, the return of the people that was making your life miserable, the return of all these crap that you can't stand also make a comeback. You don't like wars. War made a comeback. All that stuff, all this chaos was happening on the world stage. You like to have a little bit more money in your pocket. All of a sudden, groceries skyrocketed, and then people are telling you, "Oh, that's just an illusion. What are you talking about?" It's like, no, the economy. No, that's not Biden's fault. No, he's not. No, blah. Like, you stupid. You don't know how the economy works. Like, bro, I used to spend this amount of money, right? When I was receiving me tweet, but I was able to afford groceries. But now you pissing on me and telling me it's raining. Like, what's going on? Right? And it all comes down to the loss of credibility. That's all it comes down to. The same people that's telling you respect the science are the same people that's telling you a man can be a woman. You're not credible. The same people that's telling you like, yeah, you should take are also the same people that's coming out, weeks later telling you like, yeah, all these social distance and all that, yeah, we made it all up. You're not credible. The same people that was telling you like, yeah, we're going to have peace and all the other stuff are the same one that's actually bringing you like, wars and destruction that was happening under them. You're not credible. The same media platform that was telling you how much of a fascist this guy was. The guy it was like a orange man was like the guy with a funny mustache, right? And you realize these people have been lying to you for years after years after years. They're no longer credible. That's it. It's not about the fact that people like Trump, right? It's not about the fact that people like Trump. It's the fact that the people that were being told to vote for ain't shit, right? They're not credible. The same celebrities that's telling you like Orange Man is bad for some reason couldn't tell you about Diddy. For some reason was hanging out with Weinstein and Epstein and all these other crazy motherfuckers, right? These people are not credible. And that's what happened. We are being preached to by those who are not credible. And that's why people had enough. They got tired of being called all sorts of name and Yahtzee and this and that. They're like, wait a minute, I just want to be able to like afford groceries. I just want to be able to like, raises to keep up with inflation. I want to have like more money in my. I want to be able to feed my family. Like, why am I being called all these terrible names? Because I want to do better in life, right? I want to, not like, a handout, more like I want to give him the opportunity to do better in life. I remember when the mean tweet was in the White House, right? I had more money in my pocket. Gas was cheaper. All the wars that we were told that was supposed to happen, World War III could happen at any moment. None of that happened, right? But then the other guy, you said that was the adult, all of a sudden, all this terrible stuff was happening under his watch. So that's why people stop listening to y'all, to the mainstream institutions. They stop listening to the guy that was, claiming, trust the science and all that stuff. They, turns out they were full of crap, right? Same reason why, like, it's not about the fact that Trump is an asshole, right? It's not expected for Trump to behave like an asshole, right? When people expect certain things out of you, then they're more willing to accept that behavior, right? And that's the reason why you have all these so-called the party of tolerance, for some weird reason, are very intolerable of other people's thought process. If you don't agree with them, like, it's all good, right? If I play the victim, it's all good if I happen to be like, oh no, the white man's keeping me down, right? You're gonna have a white liberal come out of nowhere, be like, there, black man, yes, you are right. The system is keeping you down, brother. You are correct. But the moment I'm like, I'm not a victim, right? Things happen. I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna get over these obstacles that that get put in front of me and stuff like that. All I gotta do is, I hope you stay out of my way. I got this. All of a sudden it's like, oh, you're not a victim? What's wrong with you? Like, okay, talk about white privilege. Let's talk about white privilege, right? Does white privilege exist? Yes, white privilege exists. You know why? Because a white person can be like, yo, I don't want to vote for the orange man. I don't want to vote for Trump. I want to vote for Kamala, right? He has that privilege that no one's going to tell him that, hey, you must vote for Trump because he's white. But if you're a black person, you say, I don't want to vote for the Indian lady, right? That's posing as black. All of a sudden, you have people like, yo, your mother is black. You coon, you sellout. How dare you? I don't have that privilege to vote for someone. Well, actually, I do have that privilege. But, like, people make it seem like I don't have that privilege. You're not allowed to vote for somebody. Be like, okay, as a black person, right? I'm not allowed to not like Obama because he's a black president. Right? It's like, it's the, like, I think overall, people have gotten fed up with this whole, what up, Big J, what's going on, right? So it's like, it doesn't mean like, yeah, work hard doesn't mean that you will succeed. You are correct. You can work hard doesn't mean that you will succeed, because you have to work hard and you have to work smart. And knowledge is very powerful. And yes, and also bad things happen to good people. There are circumstances in life that you cannot control, right? There are definitely circumstances in life you cannot control. But you know what's not gonna, like, that's, the guarantee of you not going anywhere is when you lay down and refuse, and when you give up on yourself. When you give up on yourself, that's when you guarantee to fail. Like, how many entrepreneurs, like, start a business, the business collapsed, they got bankrupt, right? And then they tried again, until they actually master the formula and actually succeed, right? These are the people that just keep pushing through, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of what happened to them. They keep going and going and going at it, right? These are fighters. These are people that's not like, all right, I know life is tough, but I'm not gonna be a bitch. I'm gonna keep pushing forward, regardless of the obstacles that comes in my way. I'm gonna mold that over. And people like this, happen to be stronger. When you have like those, like everything's handed down to them, when they get spoiled, they are the easiest to actually lose their, they actually lose their wealth, the parents that generate for them. Those who actually like, they grind, and then they actually like they found out how they can actually succeed, how to make more money, how they keep trying. All right, this doesn't work, I can do this. That doesn't work, I can do this, right? So then it's like you gotta have that drive. I was having a conversation with my boy, right? Like, he's more of a, even though he's a registered Republican, but like he doesn't like Trump. He doesn't like Trump, which I understand. A lot of people don't like Trump because of his character, right? But when we talk, right, we just talk about different debate and all that stuff, right? At the end of the day, you know what we both agree on? Regardless who's the president, we'll be all right. Regardless who's the president, we're gonna find a way to actually go through it and actually make something of ourselves, because we have that mentality that we're not victims. We have that mentality that no matter what happened, we're gonna be able to push through it. Our politics may differ, right? But he is an awesome freaking dude, man, right? And that's the thing, like, a lot of time we just take politics way too serious. Like, way too serious. And to me, it's like, dude, it's not that big of a deal. Right? And that's why I'm so thankful that I'm actually surround myself with people that's like, they're not gonna like, cut you out of their lives because you disagree with them. It's like, what type of shit is that? Right? I surround myself with people that I can actually disagree with them, and regardless of our opinion, we can debate it, we can talk about it, we can agree to disagree and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, that's my brother, that's my sister, that's that's my family, right? Like, all right, something's happening to you, I got you. Like, okay, like when Biden was back in office, like that, and then the gas prices skyrocketed. My sister's complaining about it. I'm just teasing her a little bit, like, hey, you got what you voted for, right? But you think if something like would have happened, let's say she had an emergency, like, I'm not gonna help her out? Of course I'm gonna help her out. I don't care about who she voted for, right? It's like, yeah, I can tease her about it, I can make fun of her about it, stuff like that, right? But at the end of the day, that's family right there, right? Nothing. Like, I would go, like, nothing that is within my power, like, I would help out, right? And that's how my family sees it as well. They might look at me like, Mark, he liked Trump. I don't know why, but you know what? We love you anyway, cuz. All right, cool, thanks. I love you too, right? And that's why people need to start figuring out is that, yo, regardless of your politics, family comes first, right? The community comes first. And people kind of forget that. They become so tribalistic. Like, I've seen so many videos about like, your parents voted for the orange man, oh, you should disown them, right? It's like, you're living in your parents' basement, right? Like, when you have an emergency, your parents are the one that's gonna, like, you can count on and stuff like that, right? Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, you're gonna discard, your family member because what? They voted for like the candidate you didn't like? Wow, that's a hell of a good plan. And it's like people are so tribalistic. They don't realize, like, yo, family comes first. Oh, family doesn't come first. Like, your morals, I would say, like, your principles come first, right? Your principles. This is how I actually like. This is how I structure my life, right? My principle come first, and after my principle is my purpose, which is my goals, my aspirations, like my like what I want to accomplish. Like, I want to accomplish certain things in life. I want to be financially independent. I want to be able to do all that, right? But it has to be within my principle. So which means that, like, like a lot of these artists that are like multi-millionaires and stuff like that, right, that participate in Diddy's party, right? Like, they will sell out their principle. They will sell out their value in order to actually get rich, right? So that when you do things like that, then at a certain point in life, it's going to catch up to you. At a certain point in life, now they're going to look at you funny when you tell them, like, you need to vote for the black woman because he cares about you. The orange men suck. And, you're supposed to be like, wait a minute, J-Lo. weren't you the one that was at Diddy's party and stuff? Like, didn't you think about like warning people about the type of guy that you surround yourself with? Like, if you can't tell, then why should we or like why should we believe that, like, you have a good instinct when it comes to picking up good people? Like, come on. And that's the and that's the thing, right? So, all right, so you have, so in my case, my principles, my purpose in life, and then family, right? Family comes third, right? That includes, like, wife, kids, freaking like siblings, all that stuff, right? And the reason that is, like, because when you do have like that level of principle, then you could actually argue your case based on that, right? Doesn't mean that, like, and that's how I structure my life. That's how I guide my life. Politics is like a freaking, I don't know, a decent fifth or sixth. Like, it's not on my top 5 priority list, right? Like, I might love to talk about it, but at the same time, it's like, it's not that, like, I'm gonna make enemies out of people because our politics differ. No, I don't do that. And I think people who actually does that are goofballs. I really do. Right? So the reason why the election went the way that it is because the people that was telling you how to vote, who to vote for, and all that stuff, all these institutions lost their credibility. All these institutions lost their credibility. That's it. That's the main reason why. And I think if the culture war, right? The whole there's a cultural shift that's been happening for a very long time now. And the cultural shift is this, right? Back in the early 2000s, the conservative, they were the one that was like trying to cancel people based on like their freaking, if you like hip hop, if you like rap music, they try to cancel Eminem, or, burning Snoop Dogg's album, the late 90s, early 2000s. These were the goofballs. Like, the freaking, the church and all this other stuff, right? They were the one that was for censorship, right? They were the goofballs. And then something started to happen, right? Something started to happen. Then you had Occupy Wall Street. Occupy Wall Street was when people was like really getting together, right? Because they were like, all right, it's like the 99% against the 1%ers. They were like, the people that were screwing this country up and all that stuff, right? And people were getting fed up with this. So then, the way they sneak about Occupy Wall Street, when the people were actually united, then that's when they introduced identity politics, right? So it's no longer about us versus them. It's all about, black people versus everybody else, Asian versus everybody else, people of color versus, like, so they create that boogeyman, right? It's like, okay, white people are the devil, white people are the boogeyman, white people are the reason why everything's bad happening to this country. It's like white supremacy, it's colonialism, and all these other buzzwords, and then you forget about the real culprit, the ones that was actually screwing us over, the one that was actually, like, making sure big corporations like screwing us over. They were making sure like all these institutions screwing us over, right? These were the people. Now we moved away from that, and then they give us a black president. Like, all right, boom, focus on that. Now if you criticize him, that means you are racist. That means you are a bigot. That means you are this, you are that, right? Now we can argue whether or not, like, Obama was a good president or a bad president or whatever the case may be. That's not the point. The point is the thing that used to happen, like, judging people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin, all of that went out the window. And that started happening like around like 2012-ish, right? Identity politics, that's like, all right, cool. That was the last time it actually kind of worked. Like, you vote for someone not only for like the content of their character, but because that person is, black or something like that, right? Because it was like a badge of honor. Like, white people was like, all right, look, I voted for Obama, I'm not racist, right? So leave me the hell alone with your bullshit. So then now, like, so because of Obama, right? Obama won, and then Obama didn't just run based on the color of his skin. He was like, yeah, I'm black, but I'm qualified, I'm this, I'm that, I got the swag and all that stuff, right? Like, so people find him attractive, right? People find him like, okay, like, this dude, Like, he's presidential, right? So that's why they try to duplicate that with the Indian girl, and it didn't work. It didn't work because, like, identity politics was already out the window. The shift was happening. You went from the conservative canceling people, and then you had the takeover of, let's say, liberals control culture and all that stuff, right? And then when Occupy Wall Street was ending, that's when the liberals, they were actually, like, they allowed the weirdest people in their group to have the loudest voice, right? That's when you have, like, the justice warriors, like, the term, the meaning, like, it didn't mean anything. And then boom, 2016, like, Orange Man came through, and all of a sudden, like, all the people that was, like, pretending to be virtuous, right, that were hiding behind their virtue, now, like, Orange Man expose all of that. Like, these ain't good people, they're just pretending. Like, he was bullying them. This guy was bullying them, right? And that's when you're like, yo, I don't agree the way you went about it, but you kind of have a point. He's not filtering himself. He's not, like, politically correct, right? And then that's why it was attractive to a lot of people. Like, yo, I'm tired of politicians talking nice to me, but they ain't doing nothing for me. I'm tired of that, right? And now they're like, wait a minute, we kind of losing control here. Let's put a little bit of, so the liberals are, let's put a little bit of censorship online and stuff like that, because we don't want these bad people to have a voice. Like, wait a minute. So you are now pro censorship? Like, what the hell's going on? Right? So that's when, like, all of a sudden, like, these liberals and leftists, all of a sudden now, they went from, I may not agree with you, but I'm gonna defend your right to say it, to now, oh, this is hate speech. So then, therefore, we must control what you say, because, like, what you say can be harmful. What you say can be misinformation. What you say can do this, can do that. It's like, okay, but who's credible and who's not credible when it comes to misinformation and disinformation? Because if you want to have the control of that, you're not credible. You lied to me about the war in Iraq. You lied to me about all of this stuff. So why should I listen to you? Right? And that's when the cultural shift started going. The cultural shift started going and stuff like that. Right? And to those who actually still believe, like, the culture war is, like, it's like the conservative or the one that's for pro censorship, whatever. No, culture shift all the time, and the principle applies to nobody likes to be controlled. Nobody likes to be, like, be told what to do and all that stuff, right? And people like to do their own thing as long as it doesn't harm other people, right? And I think that's where we're going right now. Will it go back again to, like, at some point the conservatives is actually gonna be the party that like to censor people? Yeah, it will go back to that again, because culture is a pendulum, always shifted. And I think what you do have is those who actually see the shift happening early, and then they just, like, move accordingly, and they start talking about accordingly, so then they risk being deplatformed. They risk being the one that actually early on the warning sign to, like, hey guys, y'all doing something stupid, y'all gonna pay for it later on, right? These are the people that, like, early on they get demonized, and then as information start coming through, and they'll be like, wait a minute, this guy was right. I mean, we call them a conspiracy theorist, we call them this, we call them that, we try to discredit him, but he was right all along, right? And then you have that group of people that just, like, start to switch their stand, be like, okay, yeah, was I associating with the wrong people? Like, what's going on? So they start switching their stance because they have a revelation, right? And you have those group of people, and then the third group of people, the normies, these are the ones that just jump in the bandwagon because it's cool, right? And the normies, like, started to happen with the cultural shift. They started happening with Bud Light. It's fun to actually make fun of Bud Light, to actually go viral making fun of Bud Light and all that stuff, right? It's fun to actually, like, criticize these woke Disney movies, stuff like that, right? So now people started to actually enjoy making fun of these goofballs, right? And that's how the cultural shift happening. And for those who still holding on to this, like, oh, I'm Democrat, oh, I'm Republican, I'm like, dude, none of that matters. Like, these old notions that the other party is racist, because you've been told they are racist and all that stuff. It's getting old. It is definitely getting old. You do have like people that's wishing bad, but like, yeah, I hope like when Orange Man gets in office, you can F around and find out. Wishing all these bad stuff to happen because the candidate you voted for didn't win. It's like, okay, it's like, and I think it's like the funny thing about it is the fact like there's like they're not even being genuine. They continue to actually like misrepresent certain aspect or certain policy, certain announcement, in all the way to try to continue to scare the population. It's not working anymore. People voted for the Orange Man because they got sick of the BS. They got sick of all the crap that was being peddled. They got tired of the fear porn. They got tired of all the other crap. They're like, you guys are no longer, the institutions that represent democracy are no longer credible. And that's why they vote to actually go against it. So, for those of you still got that confusion why Orange Man is back in office, that's why. Because the adult are not credible. The news media, all the institution, FEMA, you name it, all of them are not credible. They lost all credibility. And that's why we're going to have the Orange Man back. That's it. All right. Let me know down below what you think in the comment section. Thank you for popping through. I appreciate it. Once again, I'm your host, the Haitian. So, share, like, comment, and subscribe. I'm out of here. Peace.